Incredible discovery, Millionaire's heartwarming act transforms twins' lives in life-changing summer. In the small town of Maplewood, whispers of a reclusive millionaire could hardly go unnoticed. But for 10-year-old twins Ethan and Alex, it was more than just gossip. It was an adventure waiting to happen. Each day after school, while their mom, Julie, worked long hours at the diner, they would escape their dusty little world, getting lost in dreams of building extraordinary furniture that would enchant homes and families. However, shadows lurked beneath their shared ambitions. Living in a modest community where dollars were as scarce as sunshine. One sweltering afternoon, while rummaging for wood scraps behind the diner, the twins overheard the curious chatter of folks who frequented their mother's diner. "Did you hear? Mr. Thompson, that rich guy, bought the old estate," one voice murmured, excitement bubbling in the air. Initially wary of the grumpy man, the boys were startled by how his lonely estate, so different from their close-knit neighborhood, sparked hopes of recognition. The enchantment deepened when Ethan's adventurous spirit led them onto the trails that bordered the estate. Suddenly, there he was, Mr. Thompson himself. Tall and shadowed by thoughts of the past, his face was weathered like the wood they loved to carve. Instead of scaring them off, he watched, intrigued, as their hands shaped an ordinary piece of scrap wood into a glimmering treasure before his eyes. "You've got talent," he muttered, his voice softer than the twins expected, igniting a fire of possibility in their hearts. With summer unfolding, dreams of attending an inspiring woodworking camp lit their imaginations. They could almost smell the freshly sanded wood and hear the laughter of friends. But the twin brothers faced the cold glare of skeptical classmates, world-weary in their poverty, branding them as mere poor kids. Just as despair loomed, a fierce storm swept over Maplewood, leaving the town battered and broken, homes ripped apart and spirits torn asunder. In the heart of that chaos, when neighbors turned their backs, Mr. Thompson emerged like a lighthouse guiding lost ships. He united the town, rallying them to rebuild, revealing a genuine depth behind the wealthy facade. The respect the twins felt for him grew with every nail hammered and every wall mended. Yet tension simmered like the storm clouds overhead, as the community stood divided. Some praised Mr. Thompson for his generous heart, while others accused him of trying to buy their love. Then Ethan and Alex stumbled upon the story behind the reclusive millionaire. A past riddled with anguish, a family tragedy that had driven him away and forged walls that even wealth couldn't break. They saw what others couldn't. Underneath the money lay a man just as broken as them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Grappling with the layers of Mr. Thompson's hidden stories weighed heavy on their young hearts. Would they muster the courage to confront him, prompting a change in their peers' perspectives, or would their fear keep them silent? Amid the wreckage of the storm, hope remained, shimmering like freshly polished wood, waiting for someone to breathe life back into the splintered community. But just as the twins prepared to act, a new storm threatened, one capable of sweeping away their dreams. What would emerge from the chaos that darkness wrought? Would their newly discovered courage shine brighter than the shadows looming ahead? The next morning, a quiet tension hung in the air as Ethan and Alex stepped out of their home. The sun shone brightly, casting shadows across the battered neighborhood. As they approached the diner, a rush of emotions flooded through them, hope conflicting with the heavy weight of fear. How could they approach Mr. Thompson? Would he even listen to two kids like them? They exchanged worried glances, their hearts pounding in sync. "We have to try," Ethan declared, determination flickering in his blue eyes like the sunlight glinting off polished wood. "He's been good to the town. We need to show him we're not just poor kids. We dream, too." The thought of standing up to the millionaire was daunting, but the twins had seen glimpses of the man behind the gruff exterior. They could sense the loneliness that mirrored their own. With that flicker of hope guiding them, they set off toward the sprawling estate again, their feet finding the path with purpose. Once they arrived, the old trees stood tall like sentinels, and the grand estate loomed in the distance, impressive yet haunting. As they crept closer, they spotted Mr. Thompson in the yard, lost in his world of hammers and nails, repairing a broken fence. The rhythmic sound of his work filled the air, echoing like a heartbeat. "Do we just walk up?" Alex whispered, anxiety gnawing at him. Ethan nodded, steadying his breath. With each step, they felt the heat of the sun and the weight of their surroundings, stirring their courage. Before they could second-guess themselves, they approached the man who had become an unspoken hero to them. Mr. Thompson?" Ethan ventured, his voice trembling slightly. Mr. Thompson looked up, eyes narrowing like he was sizing them up, but this time the surprise behind his gaze softened as he noticed the wood chips scattered around their dirty hands and shoes. "What do you want, boys?" he asked, his voice carrying a new curiosity. We wanted to thank you," Alex blurted, his heart racing. "You've helped everyone rebuild. We wanted you to know we saw everything you did." "Why yeah," Ethan chimed in, gaining courage. "You're not just some millionaire. You care." Mr. Thompson paused, taken aback by their honest admiration. His face, usually so stoic and guarded, shifted as he processed their words. "I didn't do it for thanks," he replied, the weight of the world still resting on his shoulders. "I just wanted to help." The twins exchanged glances, feeling that flicker of courage grow. "We want to help too," Ethan said, his voice stronger now. "We love woodworking. We have an idea for a project to bring the community together, something everyone can be a part of." This piqued Mr. Thompson's interest. "What kind of project?" "A carousel," Alex explained animatedly, "a space where kids can play and families can come. We need wood, and tools, and maybe some guidance." The silence that followed was heavy. The twins felt the weight of their words hanging in the air, tumbling like uncut wood waiting for the right hands to shape it. Mr. Thompson's weathered face softened, as though for the first time in ages, someone saw him. "I can help with that," he finally said, his voice low but full of warmth. Before the twins could celebrate, he continued, "But it'll require hard work, and I want to take it easy on you. Are you ready for that?" Ethan and Alex nodded, a wave of excitement surging through them. Maybe this was their moment, a moment that could change their lives and the lives of their neighbors. Just as they began to talk excitedly about their plans, a distant rumble echoed in the sky. Dark clouds rolled in, gathering over Maplewood like shadows looming above their newly found hope. "Let us get inside," Mr. Thompson urged them, his expression shifting from warmth to worry. "If we're going to do this, we need to get started before the storm hits." As they hurried into the safety of the estate, the twins felt a surge of determination swell within them. But as thunder echoed across the town, they couldn't shake the feeling that a new challenge awaited. Would they have what it takes to embark on this journey alongside Mr. Thompson, or would the storm that approached tear apart their dreams before they could even begin? Inside Mr. Thompson's estate, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The air was thick with the scent of sawdust and varnish, mingling with the lingering humidity from the brewing storm outside. The twins stood in awe of the spacious workshop filled with tools of every kind, the walls lined with shelves of wood in various shapes and sizes. "Welcome to my little sanctuary," Mr. Thompson said, a hint of pride creeping into his voice. "This is where the magic happens." Ethan's eyes sparkled as he took in the sight. "It's amazing," he exclaimed, stepping past a massive workbench that held an array of tools that looked both intimidating and inviting. "We've never seen anything like this." "Let us talk about your carousel," Mr. Thompson said, his tone growing serious. "What do you envision for this project?" Alex couldn't contain his enthusiasm. "We want it to be colorful and fun. It should have animals and maybe some lights, too. Something every kid in town will love." He spoke rapidly, the ideas spilling forth like marbles rolling out of a bag. Thompson nodded thoughtfully. "It sounds ambitious. But how can you fund it? Projects like this don't come cheap." We have some savings, Ethan said, glancing at Alex, who looked uncertain. But we can fundraise and ask the community for help. Community, Mr. Thompson echoed, pondering their words. That's a critical piece. If you want them to feel part of it, they need to invest their time and effort, not just money. Ethan nodded, knowing this was true. At that moment, a loud crack of thunder startled everyone, the sound reverberating through the workshop like an alarm bell. Alex let out a small gasp, and Mr. Thompson's brow furrowed. Here, let me show you something useful. He walked over to a wall covered in sketches and plans for various projects. I always start with a blueprint. It helps to see your vision laid out. The twins stepped closer, their hearts racing with excitement as Mr. Thompson pulled down a large sheet of paper. On it was a rough outline of a carousel that resembled the one they had dreamed up together. They couldn't believe their eyes. Wow! Alex gasped. You already had an idea for it. Just a rough start, Mr. Thompson admitted, glancing at the sketches. I never had the right motivation to build it. But you inspired me. Let's make this happen. As they discussed details, the heavy rain began to pound against the windows. With each drop, the world outside transformed, a canvas of gray and black. Ethan felt the storm echoing his thoughts. Could they truly pull off something this grand? Can we come here every day to work? Ethan asked, hope glimmering in his voice. Of course. But remember, hard work means long hours and perseverance. I will not go easy on you, Mr. Thompson warned, crossing his arms. Hard work is what we do best. Alex declared, determination shining in his eyes. Suddenly, the lights flickered and a deep silence took hold, interrupted only by the rain's relentless rhythm. The storm surged, more ferocious than before, making the workshop feel smaller, the walls closing in. Let's get started, Mr. Thompson said, breaking the tension. First, we'll need to gather measurements and finalize your plans. Work like this won't wait for a good day. Ethan and Alex couldn't help but grin at each other. They were officially on their way to making their dream a reality, yet, outside, the storm seemed to intensify, as if nature itself was testing their resolve. With every crash of thunder, a growing sense of foreboding gnawed at them. What if the storm didn't just threaten the weather? What if it was a sign of other challenges waiting to unfold? As they began to draft their plans around the workshop table, the feeling of exhilaration was tinged with uncertainty. Could they withstand the pressures about to come crashing down, just like the storm? The door burst open, and a gust of wind rattled the windows. A shadowy figure, drenched from head to toe, stumbled in. It was someone they hadn't expected to see. Help! The figure shouted, breathless and wild-eyed, you need to listen. Ethan and Alex turned, hearts racing. Who was this person, and what trouble did they bring with them? The figure stood in the doorway, rain-soaked and panting, as if the storm outside had thrown them into the heart of their worst fears. Ethan instinctively stepped forward, his curiosity overcoming his apprehension. Who are you? He asked, his voice steadier than he felt. Give me a moment please, the figure said, drawing in deep breaths. As they entered the dim light of the workshop, the twins could finally make out the person's features. It was Mrs. Thompson, Mr. Thompson's estranged sister, who had moved away years ago. Her face was a mixture of worry and desperation, the kind of expression that sent alarms ringing in the twins' hearts. Mrs. Thompson? Alex questioned, his brow furrowing. What are you doing here? Her eyes darted around the workshop as if searching for something before settling back on Ethan and Alex. I've come to warn you. You're in danger. The carousel, it's more than just a project. Ethan's heart raced. He glanced at Alex, who looked equally bewildered. What do you mean? Ethan pressed, feeling a coil of anxiety tighten in his stomach. The storm outside roared, echoing Mrs. Thompson's intensity. That carousel you want to build at once belonged to our father. There's a lot of history there, and not all of it is good. There are people who don't want it rebuilt. It's tied to something powerful. Mr. Thompson had been listening intently, his face pale. I had no idea, he said softly, stepping closer to his sister. What do you mean powerful? What happened to it? Mrs. Thompson's voice quivered as she spoke. It was cursed, or at least that's what people said. Our family has had its share of secrets, and not all of them are easy to digest. Since I left, the stories kept coming. I thought I'd escaped them, but I can't let it happen again. The tension in the room thickened. The twins needed to hear more, but the pounding of rain made it hard to concentrate. What kind of danger? Alex asked. What will happen if we try to build it? Accidents, she whispered, her eyes glistening with urgency. Things happen to those who get too close. It's why I came back. If you want to build this carousel, you need to be prepared for what might come your way. Ethan's pulse quickened. This was all too much too fast. They had just started dreaming about the carousel, and now they were faced with the notion that it might bring them trouble. The excitement drained from his body like air from a balloon. Is there anything we can do? Ethan asked, feeling a flicker of defiance spark within him. We can't just let fear stop us. This is for the community. Mrs. Thompson looked taken aback by his conviction. Maybe, but you need to know the risks. And your father, she hesitated, turning her gaze away. He wasn't a man to be reckoned with. You're wandering into a legacy steeped in shadows. Mr. Thompson interjected, we'll take this seriously, but we can't easily abandon the dream, can we? He locked eyes with his sister, a challenge conveyed in their stare. The twins have already ignited something in me. I want to let fear kill their dream. Just then, a loud crash echoed outside, making everyone jump. A tree in the yard had toppled over, struck by lightning. The wind howled, swirling rain against the workshop's windows like a frantic dance. What will we do? Alex muttered, glancing around at the tools and sketches that now felt more ominous than inspiring. Mrs. Thompson sighed heavily. You must decide, move forward knowing everything I've told you, or step back while you still can. Ethan exchanged a look with Alex, the air thick with uncertainty. What choice would they make? As they stood in the dim light, illuminated by the storm's fury, the future hung heavy in the balance, both alluring and terrifying. Together, could they confront whatever awaited them? A sense of resolve surged within Ethan as he contemplated their next steps. But what if the price of their dream was greater than they ever imagined? The room buzzed with tension, and for a moment, Ethan felt as if the storm outside was not just a collection of rain and wind. It was alive, wrapping around them, demanding they choose their path. He looked to Alex, reading the doubt swirling behind his brother's eyes. Maybe we need to prepare, Alex said, his voice barely above a whisper. We can't ignore the warnings. But we can investigate, find out what really happened with that carousel. Mrs. Thompson shifted nervously, her hands twisting together. That might lead to more questions than answers, she warned. And some questions may be best left unanswered. Ethan took a step closer to her, his heart pounding with the weight of her words. But if there is some truth to this curse, we need to know. We can't just bury it all under fear. Mr. Thompson nodded, the conviction in his voice rising. We're not backing down. Not after all the work we've put in. But understanding the legacy is part of the journey. Suddenly, another crash rang out, echoing through the workshop. This time, it wasn't just thunder. The lights flickered, straining against the wind until they finally went out, plunging them into darkness. Shadows danced menacingly, and Ethan's instincts flared. Stay close. He urged, his voice strong despite the panic dancing in the pit of his stomach. He fumbled for the flashlight on the table, finding it slick with water from the storm. With a quick click, the beam cut through the darkness. What was that? Alex questioned, eyes wide as he gripped the table for support. I don't know, Ethan replied, the air thick with an ominous feeling. But we need to find out. With tentative steps, they moved toward the door, leaving Mrs. Thompson and Mr. Thompson behind. Just as they reached the threshold, a chilling wind swept through, extinguishing the flashlight's beam. Suddenly, a voice echoed in the wind, low and almost unearthly. Turn back, the twins froze, staring into the night. The rain was pounding harder now, the wind howling ferociously as if warning them to retreat. But something inside Ethan ignited a sense of purpose against the rising unease. Did you hear that? He whispered, glancing back at Alex, whose face had gone pale. Yeah, Alex breathed, his voice barely audible. But I don't want to go back. Not now. Before Ethan could respond, Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, her face illuminated by his flashlight. You must understand, she said, her voice firm yet trembling. The curse, it's real. And it's more than just stories. It's history that shouldn't be tampered with. Then help us uncover it, Ethan pleaded, vulnerability creeping into his tone. We can't do this alone. If there's a way to break this curse, we need you. She hesitated, torn between family loyalty and the knowledge of the risks. I'll help, for you and for him, she said softly, glancing at Mr. Thompson. But you must promise if things get dangerous, you'll walk away. Ethan and Alex nodded as a renewed sense of determination washed over them. They weren't finished yet. The thought of walking away wasn't an option. They stepped outside, rain soaking their clothes as they ventured towards the shadowy outline of the old carousel in the distance, once a beloved dream, now a haunting specter. But even as they moved forward, a throbbing dread loomed larger than the storm itself. What awaited them in the dark corners of their family's past? As they approached, the wind howled, and the carousel seemed to whisper their names. What secrets lay hidden? Would uncovering them lead to salvation or only deepen the shadows that shrouded their legacy? The storm raged on, but now it felt like a challenge. Destiny was calling, and there would be consequences that might change everything. Ethan clenched his fists, ready for whatever might come. If they were going to unravel this mystery, they would need to be brave. The question stood before them like the carousel itself: was it worth the price? The old carousel loomed ahead, its chipped paint gleaming dimly in the flickering flashlight's beam. Ethan felt a cold gust wrap around him, sending chills skittering down his spine. He glanced over at Alex, whose expression mirrored his own mixture of fear and excitement. The wildness of the night seemed to draw them in, each step heavy with the weight of their decision. Mrs. Thompson moved close beside them, her own light shaking slightly. This is where it all began, she murmured, almost to herself. The nightmares, the stories, they all circle back to this place. Ethan could see the pain in her eyes. It was as if the carousel held a piece of her soul, the memories, the sorrow, the unresolved questions. Let us find the truth, whatever it is, he said, trying to infuse confidence in his voice. As they approached, the carousel's once vibrant colors now appeared grotesque under the stormy sky. It groaned in the wind as if alive, each gust causing the rusty metal to creak eerily. Do you really believe it's cursed? Alex asked, skepticism bleeding through his tone. We can't overlook what has happened, Mrs. Thompson insisted, planting her feet firmly on the wet ground. People have gone missing. We can't ignore that. What if there's a way to break it? Ethan proposed, his mind racing. He pressed forward, hoping for signs of life among the shadows. What if we can end whatever this is? Or it could end us, Alex countered softly, glancing nervously around. The darkness felt like an entity of its own, part of the history they were now entangled with. Suddenly, a splash of rain hit the ground, and the wind picked up, swirling around them. The carousel began to sway, the horses on it stirring ever so slightly as if awakening from a long slumber. He felt a tugging in his chest, an urge to reach out and touch it. Ethan, wait! Alex shouted just as he stepped toward the faded beauty. But it was too late. The moment his fingers brushed against the carved wooden mane of a horse, an electric jolt shot through him. The world seemed to stop. Visions flashed behind his eyes, memories not his own. Laughter, children, then screams, darkness enveloping bright colors. It was dizzying, overwhelming. "Ethan!" Alex yelled, now fully on edge. "Get away from it." But he couldn't. The whispers filled his mind, begging him to stay. What is this?" he gasped, pulling back slightly. His heart raced, and he saw Alex's face twisted in worry. "Are you okay?" Mrs. Thompson rushed toward him, gripping his shoulder. "Don't lose yourself in it." Ethan stammered, shaking his head to clear the fog. "I felt something. Something powerful." The wind shrieked around them, and a low growl emanated from the carousel. It reverberated through his bones. "Let's take a step back," Alex suggested, glancing around as if the shadows themselves were watching. The carousel seemed to bend and twist, the horses appearing to rattle in their places as if trying to escape. "We have to keep pushing," Ethan urged, feeling the adrenaline for the truth drawing him closer again. "We can't back down now." Even in the midst of chaos, something at the heart of the ride called him. But would discovery bring light, or would it trap them further into the darkness? As Mrs. Thompson looked at him, her eyes filled with fear and hope, a new question flickered within: what had they awakened? The answer remained tantalizingly close, just beyond the reach of their understanding. Each second beat like a drum resonating with the storm, pulsating with impending revelations. Would they be ready to face whatever was waiting for them? Ethan couldn't shake the sensation that something was on the verge of breaking loose. The horses on the carousel, once still, now seemed to gain energy, as if waiting for their moment to spring into action. Thunder rumbled overhead, and another rush of cold air swept past them, carrying with it the scent of rust and damp earth. "Stay close," Mrs. Thompson warned, her voice thick with fear. "We need to maintain our focus. If we don't understand this place, it could be the end for us." Alex looked around, scanning the darkness as if expecting something to emerge from the shadows. "What do we even know?" he demanded. "This could be just a broken-down amusement ride." "But it's more than that," Ethan insisted, stepping closer once more. "This place is connected to all those stories. It's holding something. We have to find out what." Suddenly, there was a low rumble from the carousel, louder than the wind. The painted horses began to move again, their heads jerking slightly as if they were trying to speak. Ethan felt a tug in his chest, a whisper urging him to venture deeper into the heart of this enigma. I need to understand," he murmured, almost to himself. "Ethan, don't." Alex shouted, panic slicing through his voice. "You don't know what you're doing." Ethan hesitated, torn between curiosity and fear. Then, as if sensing his indecision, Mrs. Thompson moved forward. "Ethan, listen to your friend," she urged. "Whatever power holds this place, it won't hesitate to take you in." But the pull grew stronger. He found himself stepping onto the carousel, the damp wood beneath his feet sending a jolt of chills up his body. The air was thick with energy, buzzing like static electricity. The surrounding chaos faded into a thick silence, and for a brief moment, he felt alone with the memories swirling in his mind. There were faces familiar yet distorted and laughter that twisted into cries for help. Ethan squeezed his eyes shut, trying to thrust the unwelcome images away, but they surged forward. "No. Get out. Run." The voice echoed, a chorus against the feral wind. Suddenly, the carousel began to spin, slow at first, then faster. The world blurred around him as he gripped the horse tightly, fear gripping his heart. He held on, convinced that letting go would send him tumbling into darkness. When he opened his eyes again, the ride came to a stop, and a woman stood before him. Her hair was as wild as the storm, and her eyes were wide, filled with an unsettling blend of sorrow and strength. "You've come," she said, her voice softer than a whisper but cutting through the night. "Do you dare to learn the truth?" Alex screamed something, but the sound was lost in Ethan's mind as he locked eyes with the woman. He felt a warmth radiate from her, a stark contrast against the cold reality surrounding them. She reached out a hand, beckoning him closer, drawing him into her world of memories and secrets. "Don't," Alex said again, panic bubbling in his throat. But Ethan was lost, swept away by the possibility of understanding. "Once you take this step," the woman warned softly, "there is no turning back." With a shaky breath, Ethan took a step forward, unsure. He could feel Alex's presence behind him, a bolt of protective energy, but it was too late. The moment he crossed the invisible barrier of fate, he felt the force of their connection collide with his very essence. "Ethan!" Mrs. Thompson gasped. Would he emerge from this journey a hero or a victim? As each heartbeat pulsed within him, the unknown pulled him deeper. He glanced back at Alex, his heart racing with fear and anticipation. The revelation awaited him, a truth long buried, but at what cost? Were they ready for the storm that was about to break? Ethan's world shifted dramatically as he took that fateful step. The moment he crossed the barrier, the storm's ferocity seemed to dissolve into a soft glow that enveloped him. A feeling of weightlessness washed over him, like he was floating between realities. The woman smiled, her face a blend of wisdom and sorrow. "Welcome," she said, her voice soothing. "You've come seeking answers, but every answer carries with it a burden of truth." Around him, the carousel morphed into something vibrant and surreal. Colors danced, painting scenes from the past. Laughter echoed, and whispers filled the air. Faces appeared, some joyful, others filled with anguish. Each figure held a story, a piece of the puzzle intricately woven into the fabric of this mysterious place. The woman nodded towards the images. "These are the memories of those who have come before you. They hold fragments of the truths they sought, but not all were prepared for what they found." Ethan felt the weight of curiosity and dread pressing down on him. But what truth? What happened to them? "Some succeeded, while others failed," she replied, her expression darkening. She reached out, and suddenly, the memories shifted. An image solidified before him, a faded picture of children riding the carousel, their faces radiating joy. "Look closely," she urged. As Ethan studied it, a sensation washed over him. The laughter felt familiar, as if woven into his own history. "These kids, they look just like us," he exclaimed, the realization sending shivers down his spine. "Indeed," she said, a hint of sadness tracing her voice. "They were part of the journey, intertwined with the spirits of this place. But their joy came at a cost. Each choice led them deeper into shadows they couldn't escape." Ethan recoiled. "But that's not fair. They just wanted to have fun." "Life rarely is," she said gently. "The carousel thrives on emotions: love, fear, joy, and sorrow. It captures them, but it demands sacrifice in return." A chill crept into the air. "What sacrifice?" he pressed, dread pooling in his stomach. "Their connection, their memories, their very essence," she whispered, her eyes pleading for him to understand. "To understand is to lose a part of yourself to the chaos of forgotten truths." As the realization sank in, Ethan's heart raced. Every glimpse into the past felt like a thread pulling him away from the present. "If I learn their stories, what do I risk?" "Only your soul, Ethan," she replied, voice almost breaking. "Once you unravel the truth, you cannot unsee it. This place will forever change you." Behind him, Alex's voice broke through the haze. "Ethan, don't. You can still come back." The weight of the decision sat heavy on him. Knowing that to step too far could lead to unimaginable consequences, yet the lure of the carousel pulsed in his veins. "Don't you want to help them?" the woman asked, her gaze unwavering. "Helping means sacrificing." "I don't know if I can," he stammered, glancing anxiously at the shadows around him. "Sometimes you have to lose a piece of yourself to save others," she said gently, ushering him towards the heart of the carousel. As Ethan stood at the precipice of choice, torn between the necessity of understanding and the fear of loss, he heard a faint cry echo through the air, a plea for help that stirred something deep within him. Would he dare to sacrifice his own truth for the sake of saving others? Or would he retreat into the safety of ignorance? Time hung thickly in the air, the moment poised between action and hesitation. And just as Ethan opened his mouth to respond, the carousel began to spin again, faster this time, surrounding him with a whirlwind of faces, memories, and unanswered questions. The truth beckoned him. Would he jump into the storm, or would he let it pull him under? Ethan felt the world around him whirl faster. The vibrant colors of the carousel blurred into an indistinct yet mesmerizing stream. Memories tugged at him, desperate to pull him from what he knew into the unknown. Each face felt like a whisper, a warning, a promise. Ethan, the woman's voice cut through the chaos. You must choose. Do you wish to see what lies beneath? He could feel his heart pounding. What if there's nothing good? What if it changes me in a way I can't come back from? The woman's expression softened. Transformation often feels like loss. But sometimes it's the very thing that can spark great joy. Look deeper, find your truth, find theirs. As he hesitated, the carousel began to take shape again. All around him, the shadows twisted and danced, each moment frozen in time, waiting for him to make a choice. The laughter he had heard before morphed into cries and pleas, each echo resonating in his chest. Another image emerged, a vivid capture of a girl, eyes filled with tears while her brother smiled bravely beside her. They were close, clinging to each other as if their lives depended on it. The contrast between their joy and sorrow hit Ethan hard, like a punch to his gut. Do you see? The woman continued. There are sacrifices to be made, but there are also connections that can heal. Could he risk the connection between him and Alex? Would understanding these memories mean losing the joy they had shared together? Guilt gnawed at him, the doubt clawing deeper into his heart. And what if I don't like what I find? He whispered, barely able to meet her gaze. Then you will learn that truth, even if painful, can guide you to something greater. You need not carry it alone, the burden can be shared. The carousel began to slow, revealing more faces, some familiar with a warmth in their eyes, others filled with shadows of regret. Ethan could feel their energy, each gaze stirring something within him, sparking long-buried emotions that he thought of Alex. Of their bond. Did he want to risk losing that just for the sake of a truth that might not even be his own? Before he could linger on the thought too long, he found himself taking a step forward. All right. I want to understand. I need to know what happened to them. To all of us. The woman's smile returned, imbued with hope. Prepare yourself, then. The carousel will reveal its truths, and you will have the choice to embrace them or walk away. As she spoke, the colors of the carousel brightened, illuminating paths Ethan hadn't yet seen. Each path shimmered with promise and peril alike, rooted in the stories of those who had come before him. He took a deep breath and stepped closer to the heart of the carousel. Images flooded his mind, a rush of laughter, screams of joy, the bittersweet taste of memories lost to time. But there it was again, the voice, a faint cry, just over the laughter, calling to him. He could feel the weight of their stories pressing down on him, the urgency of their unfulfilled wishes wrap around his heart. What do you want from me? Ethan shouted, desperation lacing his words. To free us, the woman replied, stepping closer. Embrace the memories. Share your truth with those who need it. Only then can we move forward. Ethan closed his eyes, envisioning the faces, the joyous children, the brave brother, the crying sister. With conviction now, he opened his eyes. I'm ready. Show me. If only he could push through the chaos, could find clarity amid the storm. As the carousel surged into motion once more, he grasped onto the hope flickering in his heart. He felt lighter yet burdened. And just as he believed he had anchored himself to the truth, the world spun violently again. The cries became clearer, resonating with the fragments of his own past. Would he find releases from these echoes or be swallowed by them? The kaleidoscope of memory wrapped tighter, and as Ethan was thrown into the depth of it, he couldn't shake the nagging thought, was uncovering these truths truly what they all needed? Or would it cast them into deeper shadows? The storm continued to rage outside, but inside the swirling vortex of the carousel, the world transformed. Ethan found himself amidst echoes of laughter and cries, trapped in the stream of memories that whispered around him. Faces appeared, some unfamiliar, others hauntingly familiar. His childhood friends, people he barely remembered, and those who had faded into shadows now danced around him in a mesmerizing blur. "Embrace us," the woman urged, her voice weaving through the chaos. "Only then can you break the cycle." Ethan closed his eyes, focusing on the warmth of his brother's presence behind him. Alex never left his side, grounding him amidst the whispering shadows. "I can feel them," Ethan whispered, the air thick with emotion. "Their pain, their joy. Think of your dreams," the woman encouraged, stepping closer, the colors swirling brighter. "What do you want to create? How do these stories intertwine with your own?" The thought of the carousel filled Ethan's heart with aching clarity. "We want to bring joy. We wanted a place for families, for kids to play, a space where happiness lives." The memories paused as if respecting his intentions. Then, a shadowed figure emerged, a boy with bright eyes, courage radiating from his smile. Ethan recognized him. It was a reflection of who he wished to be, a version of himself he often buried underneath insecurities and fear. "We can't be afraid," the figure said, "we can change this story." With a renewed sense of purpose, Ethan took a step forward. "We will honor you," he declared, "we will remember your stories, your joy, and your sorrows. Together, we can build the carousel of dreams." The memory of laughter filled the air, harmonizing with Ethan's courageous declaration. The world around him brightened, colors blending into beautiful swirls, bathing them in light. But when he turned to share his thoughts with Alex, he found his brother standing at the edge of the circle, frozen by fear. "Alex, it's okay," Ethan called. "This is a part of us. We're not alone." But the shadows clawed at Alex, whispering his doubts. "What if it overwhelms us? I don't want to lose you, Ethan." "Then don't stand back," Ethan shouted, his heart racing. "Join me. We can take what we learn and bring it home. We'll face whatever comes, together." As the carousel spun faster, Alex clenched his fists. "Together," he echoed, taking a shaky step forward. The swirling memories welcomed them both, wrapping them in swirling colors of hope and love. Suddenly, the carousel shuddered, almost as if it was awakening from a long slumber. With a powerful jolt, images shifted again, revealing children twins like themselves joyfully laughing and spinning on a carousel, unaware of the storm surrounding them. "Finish what you began," the woman's voice urged from the depths. With newfound determination, Ethan faced the heart of the carousel. "We're not backing down. We will honor the past and rebuild the joy." The shadows stirred, mixing with light. "It's their time too," Alex shouted, echoing their resolve. In that instant, the storm outside mirrored the chaos inside the carousel, ferocious yet charged with potential. It was a reflection, an awakening. As thunder cracked above, Ethan felt a chance ripple through him, an opportunity to rewrite the legacy. The brightness pulsed around them, swirling emotions igniting courage deep within. "With every story told, we'll breathe love into this place," Ethan vowed, and then, it happened. As if accepting their commitment, the carousel spun one final time, a whirl of light and color flooding their senses. With a blinding flash, realities collided, intertwining the past with the present, and in that moment, they felt an overwhelming release. A sensation washed over them, bittersweet yet beautiful, as if shadows were no longer shadows, but a part of the vibrant story they were creating. As the whirl slowed, Ethan opened his eyes, finding himself back under the stormy night sky, Alex beside him. The carousel stood still, yet it felt alive, as if the essence of all who had loved and lost lingered still, looking at his brother. Ethan whispered, "We can still build it. We'll pay homage to those before us." Alex nodded, the uncertainty fading, replaced with fierce determination. "Together. Let us share their stories. With their hearts aligned, they stepped toward the carousel, ready to face whatever the future held. The storm was still brewing above, but for the first time, it didn't feel like an omen. It felt like a beginning, and as they approached the old ride, connection flickered in the air, a bond not just between brothers, but among the entire community. Hope surged anew as they prepared to honor those who had come before, transforming fear into purpose, and courage into action. Together they would tell the tales, build the carousel, and embrace the journey, their journey. Their vibrant, unstoppable journey. Now is the time for you to support this uplifting story. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this wave of inspiration. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this life-changing ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us create more hope and joy.